Hello and welcome to the Nintendo Network. So recently I beat the main game of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Well, recently is relative to when I'm writing this, but it got me thinking. Can we be truly surprised at games anymore in this age of Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and so much more? And this being in the first 20 seconds, I have to say this, spoilers ahead. This video is going to spoil at least Bonanza, possibly other games. And truthfully, I'm coming at this from a place of frustration, so this is your warning. The thumbnail will tell you nothing of spoiling that will be happening. The title is all you get, so if you're still watching after this, it's on your own accord. Okay, are the people who don't want spoiled gone? Good. King K. rolls in Donkey Kong Bonanza. And I was not able to be excited because the bloody internet, in particular someone on Twitter, posted a picture of him on the second day the game was released. I don't even remember who it was. I was just looking on Twitter and I was scrolling past and I saw him. I tried to scroll faster, but your mind sees him, and there he was. King K. Rool was back, and I didn't get to experience it the way the developers intended. It was taken away from me in the name of clout, likes, views, whatever you want to call it. I was excited to see him again, and yes, it was heavily speculated. Heck, I did it too in my prediction videos. But seeing this mug without warning is a whole other story. And I know what people will say. Block people. Don't go on Twitter and YouTube. Even the ones that make me chuckle the most. Play the game faster. I don't play games to just beat them. I play games because I love how immersive the worlds can be when they are created well. The gameplay is also important. And I've said this a few times, I'm an explorative gamer. I spent hours on a lagoon layer just smashing things. Okay, I did that in every layer, but just rushing to get to the end of the game to get footage and clout or something is not my style. And it shouldn't be something that you have to do either. I mean, it is one thing in 2025 if I say Sheik and Ocarina of Time was Zelda in disguise. It's been 27 years. Oh, I hate the flow of time. I hate it so very much. But even games that are 2 years old, like Tears of the Kingdom, and before I go on, I will remind you there was heavy spoiler warnings for any game possible. But even in Tears of the Kingdom 2 years later, I would feel bad, and I don't think it's appropriate to blurt out to anyone that the final battle is in the sky battling a Dragon Ganon while a Dragon Zelda is helping you. That's a sentence I just said. I'm not an idiot. I understand expecting a bit of common courtesy amongst gamers is asking quite a bit, especially in this current climate. It is just a sad state of affairs when you think about it. I've spoke on how leaks are harmful, how leaks in the past and I'm sure in the future take away from the impact of an announcement. If you see something coming in the wrong context, it's less exciting. So like when you see reaction YouTubers react to leaked things in the most over-top expressions and whatnot, it's faker than WWE. Now sometimes a company will leak it themselves. I vividly remember Nintendo posting music from Castlevania the morning of a direct about Smash Brothers. I wonder who could be coming. But that is not the community. That was the poor soul who likely lost his job. But leakers and spoilers run amok, and we've just accepted them. Well, I don't. I hate them and speak ill of them because I stand by they do way more harm than any sort of good. In fact, I don't really see any kind of good where leaks come from. I think back to some of my favorite reveals ever. Reggie talking about an old IP coming back as you hear Donkey Kong music and he reveals returns. Mega Man coming into Smash and hear those classic sound effects. Metroid Prime Remastered. Banjo-Kazooie coming to Smash. I could spend the entire video going on and on. The issue isn't just in the world of gaming. Movies have the same problem. Let's talk about Infinity Wars. I mean, again, we all suspected something had to happen as it was originally part 1 and 2, but I don't think we all thought that half or over half of the heroes would be snapped away. At the end of that movie, Thanos won. It was one of the quietest movies I've ever walked out at the end of. Let's take Jurassic World, for example. I never would have thought the final conflict would have been a raptor riding the back of a T-Rex to take down an Anonymous Rex, but going in blind made the experience so much better. Regardless of how ridiculous the concept actually was, it was still kind of fun. But movies nowadays seem to try to get ahead of that. Let's take Thunderbolt. It was about a week later when they rebranded it to the New Avengers. So the expectation is you have to go see the movie the day it releases to avoid any spoilers. To avoid even the companies ruining huge plot points. But video games don't have that luxury. Yes, theoretically I could have taken the day off work, ignored my family and responsibilities to play Bonanza, quickly make my way to the final boss, and I've gotten the surprise of a lifetime. But as important as the reveal would have been, I wouldn't have been enjoying the game. So, and almost unfairly, I have to choose. I shouldn't have to be worried that in less than 36 hours that I would get spoiled. Heck, we're over a month out of Bonanza, and really, K-Rool is pretty rampant everywhere. It's now apparently fair play, but it was only until recently that I beat it. But it's a 20 to 30 hour game or less. How could you take so much time to play it? You may ask. Or maybe the dinosaur puppet my daughters have that I use to create chaos in my household. But let's look at my responsibilities that I have that makes a 24-hour game take a bit of time. First off, I have a full-time job, 40 to 50 hours a week. I would love YouTube to be my career, but it will probably always be a side thing for me. Positive, happy YouTubers who don't just jump on the viewer bandwagons and doom post everything don't really get the numbers quickly. I'm not bitter, I promise. Mostly. But I digress. The other responsibility is YouTube. Not only editing, but voiceovers, getting footage, editing more, realizing that you have no usable takes, and then you have to record again. Finding music, adjusting volume, finding pictures to go along with things, etc., etc. A short video takes hours and hours of time. To get the footage for an upcoming video, or already out depending on when you're watching this, where I rank every Mega Man Robot Master from 12 games, took forever. So all my gaming isn't on the game I'm focused on at that moment. More importantly, when it comes to responsibilities, and the top of the list is my wife and kids. Spending time with them, gathering memories with them, experiencing life together. This is key to my sanity, my hope, my everything. Beyond that, I need to somehow, rarely, find times for myself to breathe, as I am an introvert and need alone time. Then there's that pesky sleep that keeps creeping in every night. Now, all of this is my stuff, personal things that I technically have control over. But back in the day, it seems like 48 hours was not a time to spoil a video game. There hasn't really ever been a proper timeline, but 48 hours really seems too soon. In fact, it seems like for a while there, gaming companies were showing everything before the game was being released, so really, the only thing new, potentially, was just the experience, but not the story elements. For many years, Pokemon did that. But even with Scarlet and Violet, I don't think the final boss of the game was revealed. I mean, it was a character's parents, but a robot version of their parents who used a time travel device to bring Pokemon to the present to battle you. What the heck is with these final bosses sounding so outlandish when you say them out loud? Even Bonanza, a crocodile made a wish on a magical banana root that lived in the planet's core to take over a city with banana mush, and you fight him in a giant boxing ring. There may be a video analyzing final battles in Nintendo games. I digress. At least with ZA Legends, a lot is being held close to the chest. We've seen only 2 new Megas, Dragonite and Victor Bell. I'd be shocked if there wasn't more. Shocked and kinda mad. But I kinda expected to walk in knowing everything with that game. But it looks like we may not. It'll be a nice surprise. You know, I better rush through the game to find out everything myself. Or stay off the internet, right? How are these the options presented before us? How is it fair? And most importantly, how are we just accepting these options? Look, I'm not an idiot, mostly. I know my one video will do nothing to move the needle in the proper direction. Or at least I don't think. That sort of depends on the YouTube algorithm and how much it is shared and all that. Even then, how it would impact the greater narrative is really beyond knowing. But in the past, I've not stood down to the, and I don't like this word for this situation, but I'm going to say it, injustice that's happening. I've called out leakers and spoilers in the past, and I will continue in the future, because they should be called out. Could the individual who spoiled me done it because they were just so excited that K-Rool was to return? Possibly. In their excitement to share the news and everything, they just wanted to talk about it. But something I have to tell my own kids, your actions affect others. It wasn't in a private Discord service. It wasn't in a group chat with your friends. It wasn't marked spoiler on Twitter. It was just posted. And the deeper I get into this video, the more I feel like I'm mad at some 8-year-old who was just excited for the chompy crocodile to return. So to try to round this all out and return to the title of the video, can we be surprised by video games anymore? Maybe. Should may be the better question. All the efforts and energy to craft something. Designers, storytellers carefully putting things into place, setting up hints, all the reveals to happen in certain ways, and then didn't. Was it worth it? Does it really matter? Did it really hurt the game for me? Oh, that's a good question to analyze. Look, at the end of the day, no. Donkey Kong Bonanza was such a delight and treat to play. These are the games I live for, and the story, although important, is not everything. It's a huge part of it, though. Having a convincing narrative that drives you from point A to point B is important. But is having a surprise or twist villain worth it? If you're Disney, no, they don't know how to write for a twist villain to save their life, or even a normal one anymore. But imagine if K-Rool was, maybe not front and center, but a looming, obvious threat from the start. Cranky could tell tales of him and when he went missing years ago, and the stories he heard from Kremlings when he was bashing them on the head. That K. Rool was going for the Bananium route, but was lost. That could have added some more peril to going to the planet core, which in itself should have been scary, right? Have Grumpy Kong talk about that he sent scouts to dig deeper and they never returned. Subtle things like this could not only hype for K. Rool, giving him a shadowy aura around him. I mean, of course he's in it, but you never know. But still, if I see, or anyone else gets a glimpse of K. Rool, it's not a true spoiler. Gasp! The character they hyped out about the entire game is in the game? But I don't really feel games should go the full twist surprise route anymore. It is too easy to not get the outcome you want and then question if the story is good or worth it. Which it is. K. Rool being the big bad can work and not be saved for the final act. Everything can play out just like it does, and it works. Takes a bit of effort, so more world building, maybe one less dance party, but you get the picture, right? The story and world can be crafted to allow for the engagement both they and we want, without people feeling like they have to disconnect from the internet until they beat the game, which of course is unrealistic. At the end of the day, I think what this really comes down to is respect. Respect for the craft of the developers and respect for the way players want to experience these worlds. Surprise, twist, reveals, they're not just cheap tricks, they're part of storytelling. And when they get ripped away too soon, it doesn't ruin the game, but it does chip away from the magic involved. So maybe the real question isn't, can we still be surprised by video games, but will we allow ourselves to be? If we as a community slow down, give each other space, and think twice before blasting spoilers across the interwebs, these moments can keep their weight. Because when the stars align, when you discover something for yourself without warning, that's the stuff that sticks with you for years, maybe forever. And honestly, that's the kind of joy gaming should always bring. Thank you for joining me here at the Nintendo Nowhere. Without spoiling anything, what is your fondest memory and the biggest surprise from a game or reveal? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and join us on our Discord. This is the Nintendo Network, signing off.